Hello everybody, my name is Rugbypacks and welcome to the Company of Myself. This is an old game I used to play that I really enjoyed on a Flash game, but Flash games have been hard to play. This game is available on Congregate, which is a gaming website. Unfortunately, they have had some problems lately with Flash being taken down. So now they use a emulator style thing called Supernova. So it does kind of work, however I can't get it to go full screen. So you will see the edges of my other computer screen. Don't worry about that. That's okay. So this is the Company of Myself, and this is one of my favorite games from the early 2000s that I had played. I don't remember exactly when it was from. It is by Eli Pilonen, I'm assuming. Yeah, if you want to try it out, it is on Congregate. I fell in love with this game because of the story and the music, which hopefully you'll see as we go through. It does have a prequel, also available on Congregate. I don't remember the name of it right now, but I will at some point. Maybe link it in the description or something. I'll link this game in the description if I figure out how to as well. But if not, like I say, it is just on congregate.com, and you can search for the Company of Myself. So let's start the game. If you have a minute, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. The first thing you need to understand is that I am alone. I've been alone for a pretty long time now. I'm used to it. I'm content. Before I became more or less of a hermit, I found that I had two passions in life. One was performing. Even today, when I find that I can't relate to others, I can still stand in front of them and make them laugh or surprise them. The irony is strong enough to taste. It doesn't taste good. In case you're wondering, my second passion was a girl named Catherine, but I'll get to that later. I generally face the same day-to-day problems as every other person, except for when the other person gets stuck, they have their friends and associates to back them up. I don't. I know that you don't want to hear me describe my admittedly less than fascinating lifestyle, so instead I'll describe my day with a much more interesting allegory. I used to find the joy in the company of others. Now I only have the company of myself. Sorry for the fast reading, but it is a very quick cutscene. Alright, so most of these are just how to play the game, but I'm going to read them anyway. So my attention is stolen by a green square at the other end of the room. I want to be its friend more than anything I've ever wanted. Decide to use the arrow keys to approach it. The square does not react to my approach. Does it not notice me, or is it pretending not to notice me? What would be worse? Up close, I can see the green square is actually a door. I think that we can be friends anyway. Decide to push the space bar and move to the next room. Spotting a couple of platforms ahead, I decide to use the up arrow key to jump over them. Take that, platforms. Decide that Mr. Door is a better friend than the platforms. I also note that I can pause the game by pressing P or the escape key. Now that risk is involved, jumping on the platforms doesn't seem as easy to me. I start thinking about how awful it would be to fall. Luckily, I know that I can push the R key at any time to restart the level. Fortunately, I didn't need that. I find myself proud and possibly surprised by my ability to leap over these harrowing gaps. Even from back here, I can tell the ledge ahead is much too high for me to jump. I begin to wonder what would happen if I pressed the spacebar before completing a level. And this is the interesting mechanic of this game. This is part of why I love this. Is he uses shadow clones? Sorry, Naruto. I feel a bit confused and a bit tingly, but mostly just confused, to complete these levels. So he does use himself. I briefly attempt to think of something to think. Nothing worthwhile emerges. These are where it gets tricky. I haven't talked to anyone lately, but at least I can solve my own problems. So you gotta let them settle. And then use the shadows, but you can't jump while another one's jumping or it'll block. That's why you gotta give it some patience and some time. So I'm gonna have a cup of tea while that's happening. Last one. I've been doing a lot of like the Majora's Mask randomizers and stuff, and then just last week or week before I started playing these games again that I loved from my early childhood. And I thought, Geronimo! I didn't think that. That's what he said. But I was just thinking, like, how great would it be to go back through these and record them, because I love these games. I see a wall blocking the path to the exit, and I am dissatisfied. The area down below is irritatingly spacious. I think to myself, the best course of action is to pull the A key, or pull the lever by pressing the A key. Some of these are extremely tough, if I remember correctly. But yeah, like, the music is phenomenal. This is one of my, I would say it's probably top 10 on Congregate. Just from the story, which you're getting there. I'm grateful for my above-average ability to work alone. I notice a strange force field in this room. I gradually become more and more curious. And there are things to notice, like, it's such a small game, and I'm not going to spoil anything else. Oh, I did it the wrong way. So the pink force field does not allow the shadow through, which is fine. We don't care about that. Understanding the force field, I noticed that this room's field is green instead of pinkish. Staring at this worthlessly large staircase, I reflect on my past struggles. Let's do one more for good measure. Then you just walk a bunch to get there. Pull the trigger. And let's see what happens. There we go. It's a game of patience. Luckily for me, no one was watching as I hopped around looking like a crazy person. Except for all of us. I search for reasons why I don't desire companionship. This one seems a little ridiculous, like I'm just kind of sitting still on a frozen screen, but that is not the case, as you will now see. I went the wrong way. I did it the wrong way, sorry. It's the next one I'm thinking of. There we go. I find myself unable to leave the question alone. Why can I not be with people? I instantly notice how similar this room looks to the previous one. I almost feel cheated until I realize my previous tactic will not work again. So this is the one I was thinking of. You have to stand still for a long time. And then jump up and off. Shoo. Hopefully I gave myself enough time to get there. I instantly notice how... Oh, I'm already done. I already read that. It doesn't take me long to understand that I'm going to need some timing to get through here. You got that right. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, bang. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, bang. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, bang. Alright. Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Shit. No! Good thing is I can try infinite amounts of times. I've gotten used to the idea of solving mental problems, but I still enjoy a test of my physical abilities here and there. I think back to the first day that Catherine and I met. Our paths converged and suddenly we were a team. This was before I was as reclusive as I have become today, so I had not learned to truly multitask yet. That talent grew out of simple necessity. Her approach was quiet, as was my response. The connection was instant and unmistakable. A team. Mutual. Perfect. I wasn't ready to let it go. When we faced a problem, we would solve it together. Today I find myself solving the same problems alone. I was underappreciative. Plain and simple. Didn't understand just how much I needed her or how much she needed me. Oh yeah, it's his top hat. Ba-dum. It was perfect. Everything. It was all perfect, except I just screwed this up, so let's try that again. I went too early. One more try. I helped her and she helped me. Mutual. Keep hitting the wrong button. I never suspected the end to come so quickly. Bye, Catherine. I found myself crushed by guilt. I didn't leave the house for days, but she was gone. And now I find myself alone. I can't handle talking to people anymore. Internally, I visualize an overexcited man yelling, "Checkpoint!" I grudgingly consider how the ability to start over from a different perspective would have been helpful earlier in life. Maybe I could have let Catherine not meet me in the first place. And like this, I continue. This is the hardest, tedious level, most tedious level on this one, I would say. You'll see why. Getting there. One more should do it. We could try it this time. Takes all four. I don't know if they're going to jump at the right intervals. There we go. What? Don't leave yet. I have more to say. I really do. This one's also tedious, but for different reasons. Pretty much just a barrage of people jumping at different intervals because you have to jump off their heads. Should wait so that we're all going at the same time. Almost there. I had it there too, I think. Ah! It's like riding the wave of shadows. Almost made it. Shouldn't have jumped that second time. No, they're not going to make it. Stupid shadow clones. There we go. Are you really leaving? Okay, now I got to do some quick reading. I've been tasked with psychoanalyzing Jack after his mental breakdown. In general, he recalls his life very accurately. The things he says line up with all of the records. First problem is he doesn't seem to remember any of my visits. I've talked to him once a week for the past 8 years, and he always tells me the same thing as if we've never met before. He describes himself as a loner, but this makes a whole lot of sense, as he's been kept in solitary confinement for the duration of his stay at the hospital. He always briefly talks about his life and eventually gets to the story of his loved one, Catherine. He understands that she has died, and he certainly feels at least somewhat responsible. Doesn't recall that he murdered her. She was found buried in their backyard in a green package. Evidently, it was the only box large enough to use for a coffin that Jack could find. Also of note were 2 flowers that he planted as the makeshift grave. He considers her death to be the reason he can't talk to people anymore. I suppose in that way, he is correct. This will be my final report on Jack. I don't find any reason to believe that he will recover from his current state of severe mental illness, and he's far too dangerous to himself and others to allow for his release. So, that's almost the end. It'll do some credits and there's a post-credit. But that was The Company of Myself. An excellent game with an excellent story. The only reason I think I loved it so much was A, the music is phenomenal. The mechanic was cool at the time. Maybe nowadays it's not quite as cool. But it was super neat back in the early 2000s, I think, when this first came out. But I just like the Shutter Island-y, spoilers, style twist at the end, where it's like all of this has been going on in his head, and if you go back, you'll see every level has the 1 flower in it, except for when she's there, there's 2. The shrink leaves, and suddenly I don't even have a person to tell my story to anymore. It's a sad story, but it's a good story. It's one of those games that I played and the story was phenomenal, and I loved it because the story was great. So anyway, again, that was The Company of Myself. If I can figure out how to link it in the description, I will. You can play it through yourself and see if you can do it a little bit better than me, or you can just enjoy the soundtrack, whatever you want to do. If not, go to Congregate, make an account if you want, and search for The Company of Myself. It's an excellent game with an excellent story. You should show your friends. It is very cool. My name is Rugbypacks. Thank you for joining me again with another retro flash game that I used to play when I was a kid. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing this video for more of the same coming soon. I hope to see you in the next episode I put out. Take care.